Pranam Daaji, and hello everyone to the opening session of day 3 at TechSparks. I'm so happy to be back here to build on last year's session that I'd conducted on heartfulness, very much in Bangalore. Of course, that was a new world and we were all in person. And now we're, of course, living in this new reality, which is everything is virtual. It's an absolute honor to get an opportunity to have a conversation with you, Daaji. For all the folks who've joined in, Daaji is the president and guide of Heartfulness Institute. It is a form of meditation that is practiced by millions of people across 162 countries worldwide, with a goal to bring peace, happiness, and wisdom, one heart at a time. In addition to the meditation, of course, Heartfulness also has an education trust and arms children very early about conscious living skills that allow them to tune into their intuition very early on. We also, of course, take Heartfulness to corporates. And that's a very big part of the program because people dealing with stress and anxiety is at an increase. Daaji also has been a successful entrepreneur and runs a pharmacy chain in New York, which he continues to oversee. But most of his day is, of course, taken up by the duties of a modern day guru. In the normal world, he, of course, travels widely, extending his support to spiritual seekers every day, everywhere. He's also an author of international bestsellers like Heartfulness Way and Designing Destiny. And I would urge all of you to go out there and read those books because it's personally really helped me in sort of navigating through life. So through this conversation, really, what is it we're trying to achieve? And I just want to sort of lay out the goals. And, we are trying to find a way to receive practical insights from Daaji on how we can deal with our challenges that we get thrown into every day. Truly embrace ourselves, leading to becoming better versions of ourselves each day. And these are all very vast topics in themselves. And therefore, our attempt will be to get as many insights from Daaji that we can incorporate in our lives from this moment on. So Daaji, to just kick this off, we're all living in this new reality, right? Where it's pretty much unprecedented. COVID has been quite a leveler in many ways, showing us that we're equal in front of death and disease. Therefore, which begs a really fundamental question. What is it really to be human? How can we live with an attitude of constant evolution and growth without really beating ourselves? And, even in an entrepreneurial world, how can we deal with rejection or failure in a very positive way? And how can heartfulness really allow for that to happen?
My God, you have zillions of questions in one breath. And one life with so many problems to solve. Well, it's joy. It's joy to be here once again. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I like the word instead of human, manas in Sanskrit or in Hindi or manushya. Actually, man also is a word in English that is derived from manas. It's a mind. One who possesses mind is a man or a manushya or manas. That makes us very specially human. Using this faculty of manas, meaning the mind, and ultimately using it in such a way that this manas or the mind, along with intellect, can help us improve our consciousness, refine our consciousness, so that we can make better choices in life. Under any given situation, you can identify yourself as a different version from what we were a few days back, or a few weeks back, or a few years back. And this continues to change. This change is possible either in its own way, without you personally interfering, or the circumstances will push you into changing, or you can choose to selectively take certain actions and certain directions and develop certain attitude in such a way that you become better and better each time. Give you a small example how this manas or mind can play a big role in our existence. I compare thoughts with seeds, each thought leading to action, actions leading to certain fruit of our action, which are either favorable or not so favorable. Similarly, we can plant seeds according to our own choices or allow it to become a forest when it is not in your control. Forest, it's all going haywire, everything grows everywhere. But a proper gardener, a thorough gardener, learned gardener, would pick and choose particular seeds and plants and place them in the right place so that the whole garden can become beautiful and other things also can go along with it. Our life is like that. Unregulated mind, unregulated fulfillment of desires pushed from everywhere. It is an unregulated life. So when we meditate especially, we are able to filter these thoughts and selectively choose what is good for us, what will make or what can make us happier and more peaceful. Also, avoid, certainly avoid certain actions or way of thinking or attitude so that not only you prevent yourself from getting into trouble, but also prevent calamities or terrorism kind of uh, attacks on somebody else, your associate or your spouse, for example. If you can take a pause, reflect, and then speak a word, I think the world will change. Our life can change. This pause is required, and how many times can you pause during daytime? So it's difficult, but if we train our mind in such a way that while I'm talking to you, my my subconscious mind or mind at some level is also engaged in dissecting what you are up to. And based on that dissection, that internal pause that goes on, because of my attitude is such not to hurt anyone, at the same time grant peace to all around, whoever be, including myself. And the heart is the main thing that guides us in this whole action reaction life, life that is full of actions and reactions. It can guide us when once we focus our mind. So when intellect, mind, and feelings of your heart come together, I think we can create a beautiful garden in our life.
That's very, very well put. Absolutely, Daji. I think the resonance is very important, and sometimes I feel that we're so disconnected with the environment around us, and that's also very important and contextual to even the corporate world, where you literally walk into a room, and if you are somebody who's either a speaker or a leader, you need to get a sense of what the mood in the room is, and you can truly do that, like you said, if you're pausing subconsciously and also in a way assessing what the sense in the room is, and then really responding from there, as opposed to just reacting with whatever else baggage that you walked in, or a previous meeting that you carried into that new meeting, which is not really going to allow you to address truly what is in that moment, but bring along with you whatever else you've brought in from the past. And that sort of sets up for also the next question, which is, in the corporate world and even where I work, there's this strong ask now where it's almost like a value where people expect that you bring your authentic self to work. You bring all of yourself to work, obviously because they feel like work is an extension of almost who you are and what you do. And therefore, my experience has been that a sense of acceptance is really crucial. Heartfulness, my practice in heartfulness has really helped me build that acceptance. But what I have also learned is that acceptance of the self is more important than acceptance of others. That naturally flows once you're accepting of yourself, and you're also less judgmental about yourself. And so, can you help me sort of peel this onion to say, how do we go down this journey of discovering this authentic self through heartfulness?
Pragya, you always manage to put zillion questions. I have to get to the root of it to find what you are really asking for. Authentic self means not being or removing the false self from you. Identifying the false self. The true self is ever there. It is always with us. But while moving year after year, moment after moment, we go on building new persona around us, masks around us. Heartfully, heartfulness way has a great speciality. One of the greatest speciality of heartfulness way is how to unmask yourself, how to get rid of those unwanted coverings we call complexities. And slowly, while these complexities or layers of complexities are going out of our system, you are able to understand and realize your real nature, your authentic self will come to its own purview. Someone had asked a question just like we had asked a few thousand years back to Lord Buddha, what have you gained having attained nirvana? He says, I haven't. It has always been with me, but I have lost a lot. I think this dialogue goes into that direction as well, that we lose all that unwanted. And whenever you are quiet, even if you may not be meditating or you may not be a believer of God, it's okay. But when you are in your own private moment, sitting quietly and reflecting of what you have gone through or what you will be doing next, always this idea comes up, oh, I should not have done that. Or I should not be doing this. And that somehow puts brakes on our thinking process. Always.
True.
But when something is right, heart doesn't give us such a signal that, that this is really great, go ahead. Very rarely it speaks in that fashion. But whenever it does, when the voice of the heart or the voice of your conscience, it's so loud, it is then that the message is received with so much of joy. Per contra, when something wrong was done or is you're about to do, something which is not good for you or your surrounding or your colleagues or for your own company, your heart will become heavier. Your whole body will feel tensed. Your heart will even sometimes beat faster. Oh, I should not be doing this, and I end up doing this. So these are all physiological signals that we receive, which heart perceives and makes it or turns it into a feeling and say, okay, my friend, don't do this. And despite of that, sometimes because of whatever reason, we end up doing it. That means you are not listening to your authentic self. Authentic individuals are always listening to their heart's dictum, listening to the voice of their conscience. Not listening to is like becoming behosh. In Hindi, they call behoshi. It's a beautiful word.
Yeah.
Behosh admi cannot make a right decision. When you are drunk, what happens? Somebody has to carry you home.
True.
You are not even able to take your steps properly, let alone make a good decision. So, extraordinary level of awareness is a sign that this person is authentic. He speaks from his heart. He speaks what he means in his heart. He speaks, he means, and he intends with his rightful attitude And such individuals can always be trusted. You need not sign a contract of 100 pages or 150 pages long contract. Such individuals can be trusted very well. A few years back, when I was launching my business, pharmacy business in New York, I didn't have a lot of money. I had only $15,000. But the backing of a guarantor was so strong that the suppliers, they did not make me sign the contract. So the backing of an authentic person who was very well renowned in that business said, you can honor Kamlesh Patel's guarantee. And this,
That's
and that ended
incredible.
up giving me unlimited resource to that supplier's warehouse. I could get anything at any time. And this went on and on and on. And because of this relationship based on trust, he was authentic, and so were our intentions. Both sides, it was full of authenticism. Now, in this world, is it possible mutual trust? When mutual trust breaks down from one side, that means one person has not acted authentically. Okay. And I tell you, because of that trust, mutual trust we had, I was able to move away from individual pharmacy to multiple pharmacies. And that was solely based on this. We had never signed any contract that so and so will give me this supply at such and such a rate. None of that was done. Of course, it's a new ball game these days, and precisely so, because many faces are there with many masks. Even before getting married, people have that prenuptial agreement. That makes you laugh sometimes.
Absolutely.
But I think it's necessary. It has become a need of the hour.
I mean, you're going to commit yourself to spending your life with someone, and the starting point is starting from distrust. So, it's a tough one. Um, but Daji, I hear you say a lot of things which I think truly cements the fact that authenticity allows for real meaningful relationships, because you're connecting at the heart level, as you mentioned, and then it's not so important to have external constraints, because if you're making those meaningful connections, you will know what is right for the other person and what is right by you as well. And so therefore things will just flow, as opposed to putting external constraints which don't allow us to just be. I think you've given us a lot to think about, which is what does it mean to be authentic? Also, the importance of just being. And I read somewhere where, it's about one doesn't have to always do to be, but literally just be. The fact that you're breathing, just pausing and reflecting and just giving that moment for things and for nature to, the energy to pass through you, for you to be able to actually guide your heart, allow your heart to guide you, as opposed to whatever else. Because as you said, the masks are very important. I think for me personally, like, a mask is control, right? I think we all feel like if you're controlling your environment, you're going to be successful, and that you're setting up yourself for failure for sure, if that's the attitude. So
Definitely.
so that just sort of brings me to the other question, which is also what you said early on about making sure the forest is pretty. And I've been seeing that you've been coping with this wariness and unpredictability of 2020, which potentially has no end in sight, with a lot of spending time in nature. You've been planting a lot of trees, you've been doing a lot of de-weeding, you've been doing a lot of cutting and making sure your forest is in shape. So I just wanted to understand, what do you feel, for all the various professionals who are listening into this session, how should they cope with this incredible uncertainty which is ahead of them? And how do they really, how do you really view what this new normal is going to look like?
Well, normal of life, even without COVID or with COVID, it has always been uncertain. Can you tell me what will you do in 5 minutes from now, or what can happen to us? You can fall flat and die also, and there goes Pragya, right? So whole life is absolutely uncertain. Then what should be our preparedness? When my being is authentic, I don't think you require any other preparation. Our problem starts from very early in life because we have been indoctrinated with belief system and dogmas of believing in God and certain principles that have been indoctrinated in us that God knows everything. Let's take this one for an example that God knows everything. And everybody knows also this particular principle. Yet, when you have to do wrong thing, that knowledge disappears, that God knows everything, and you still end up doing that nonsensical thing. You become fearless. You are not even afraid of God when it comes to doing wrong things, despite of being aware to a certain level that He knows everything. So what happens to our authentic self at that time? When you are able to cheat yourself in this fashion, right from very early childhood, you become a master cheater all your life. So the roots of these corruptions are laid very early in life, where you can get away with so many things. You know, present COVID. What happens when you don't wear a mask, when you're not being careful? You don't have to be so courageous and fearless in this situation. Situation demands that you have to do certain things to protect yourself. If you don't, and you wear a mask of courage and fearlessness, then you are either suicidal or you end up spreading this disease and you become a murderer.
True.
Right? So this carelessness is arising from unawareness, behosi. When you center yourself, your awareness through meditation, it brings you back to this realization of who you truly are and how you should behave and act. Your authentic self comes again and again in front of you. You can wear a mask and you will see yourself in that fashion when you look at yourself. A beautiful lady looking in the mirror, she will go on admiring herself. But if you're ugly, mirror will look ugly. Oh, I'm going to break this bloody mirror. Fault is not with your mirror. Fault is not with your heart that is telling you, the reality. It will always reflect who you are. So try and adjust, you know, iron out your wrinkles, as they say.
True. And and this COVID is certainly giving us lots of opportunities to do that. It certainly has given me a lot of opportunity to do that because of this new reality that we're living in, where we're almost forcefully pausing
Mm.
is this, and therefore introspecting. It's giving us an opportunity to really shift what our regular belief system, or in the sense the masks that we usually wear, it's
Yeah.
giving us an
Okay.
opportunity to de-layer that and say, and question it in a way and say, is this really going to prepare me in a way for me to unlock the true potential that I have as a human?
It depends on person to person.
True.
When you have a lot of free time, there are individuals who would go either to play football, or there are some individuals who would go somewhere else, or some of them will end up exercising, doing good things. And some people will say, oh, let's go and enjoy. And I mean, enjoyment to me means people who deliberately try to destroy themselves. I was watching some interviews of all these Bollywood actors, actresses, and some videos that had surfaced on Google, where all these people are exchanging their cigarettes full of marijuana. It makes me wonder what sort of example they are setting in. But that has become a new norm. Now, even if COVID comes, even if the partner is dying, With such unawareness, how can they change themselves? Even when the death is hanging on their head and they are still head bent on doing the wrong things, who can help them? No one can help them. You can't blame God. In Mahabharata, we hear about Lord Krishna, right? And there is a beautiful story. There is a war between good versus bad. And despite of elders' advice to Duryodhana, he ends up choosing war over peace. And he said, "This is my nature. I know what is wrong and I know what is right. Yet I like to do this." So it is a choice that we have made. And freedom of choice these days is so rampant. And ipso facto, people choose the lower rather than the higher. So it depends on each individual whether during this free time, so-called relatively free time that I have at my hand, how to make use of it. Time is the biggest commodity, I would say the highest commodity we have. If you don't utilize this time properly, you're not utilizing the highest potential. I quote Gita, where Lord Krishna says, "I am time. Kaloshmi. I am time." That means if you don't utilize time properly, you're not utilizing God properly. You're wasting your potential, your ability to make use of this infinite power. So it's again what you really want in life. And are you really crazy for it? You are, as they say, going head over heels to make that happen. If you are not prepared to change yourself, you're not going to see your new self tomorrow. If I continue with my old behavior, old pattern, old way of working, how am I going to change? It cannot change you. In order for me to become new version tomorrow, I have to act in the now, with the right attitude that yes, I can achieve something nobler in my life. I can, I may be a non-believer of God, it's okay. But still, you have the ability to transform yourself and become better. That's a simple thing to do.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I've also heard you say, that to build on what you said, which is, gross things always have a tendency to stay, and subtler things you always have to make an effort to retain them. And I think it's just that where it's always easy to make that choice in the morning to snooze your alarm and not wake up for that meditation session or for that run, than to actually make that choice to wake up and get out of bed and do the right thing. And so I think the small habits is like building blocks, to obviously living a more holistic life is what I'm hearing you say as well, in addition to the fact that we make these small choices all the time. um Daji, you're always, you're talking about choices. What is the sort of the prescription that you can give in terms of how do we really make that right choice in that moment? All of us are making different choices. For me, let's say it's a career choice. For someone who's growing up in college, it's a choice about what subjects do I choose, or what is my professional career going to look like. What are the few things that you can share with us so that hopefully we are making using that as a way to make the right choices for ourselves? I know there is no fixed answer to this, but anything that you can sort of arm
no,
us with is always helpful.
Pragya, it's very simple to me. At this advanced stage of mine, I've learned a lot.
Of course.
And one simple thing comes to light, and that is follow your heart. Always follow your heart. Heart will never misguide you. Now, rewind your life. You have 30 years, 25 years, 40 years, you guys.
25 years is good, Daji. We always good to be younger. So
So, rewind your life and see where have you gone wrong. Find those moments, whenever you have gone wrong, write down those moments that here I had gone wrong. or make a note of it, mental note of it, and then still go further backward and say, how did I come to that conclusion that made me arrive at a wrong thing? Then you will definitely know that your heart made a wrong choice, or you did not listen to your heart and you did something else. I have seen 100 out of 100 times, whenever I have gone wrong, it was because I did not listen to my heart. So always listen to your heart.
That's great
Another
advice.
aspect that comes to my mind is, you all must have studied thermodynamics, second law, where things tend to degenerate over a period of time. And this measure of degeneration is what they call entropy. Right? If the universe is left alone like this without any interference, it will decay. That means when it started, it was at its highest level of organized state. Let me explain to you in a little easier way to understand for those who have forgotten entropy.
You can add me to that list.
It's like this, Pragya, that you come home, you throw your trouser and you throw your book and you throw your suit somewhere, and your husband picks it up and he arranges it properly. Somebody has to fix your clothes, right? Input of energy is required to keep things organized. If this input of energy is not there, these things will go into haywire mode. Your room will be clumsy, your house will start stinking, and you will not feel like existing there. Somebody has to fix it.
True.
Similarly, at an individual level, I have to fix it myself because my inner being, nobody else can fix it. My spouse cannot come to my rescue and fix my inner being. Externally, okay, she may clean my clothes, she may iron my clothes, can put my clothes in the right place, right closet, etc. See? But when my mind is in a chaotic situation, when it is disorganized, thoughts are going haywire here and there, no one can fix my thoughts. They have to be placed in proper closet by myself only. And this process of organizing my thoughts, my attitude, my feelings in compartments properly is my job. And for that, I need some time. I need to, and you don't need much time actually. Few minutes a day should be sufficient. Meditation is not only about godliness. Forget God for a moment. Even when you sit quietly few minutes in the morning and scan forward your life and see what you're going to do next during daytime, you will be able to see that many things that you were about to do, you will filter them out because you will know, oh, this is unnecessary. Why am I wasting my time?
Very true.
See, so people who argue, I don't have time to meditate or reflect, they will gain a lot of time by doing this exercise of filtering out what is unwanted. And actually, this is how I applied this principle even in choosing businesses, locations of businesses, or hiring right employees, things of that nature. Should I hire this person or not? Heart will tell you. Should I marry this person or not? Heart will tell you. So always listen to heart. And heart will give always just the right answer. Perhaps you may not be ready. That's when you say, oh, to hell with this, let me do that. Say, that's when you get in trouble.
True. And or snooze that alarm which you should actually wake up to. So absolutely. Um, so Daji, this has been, really helpful. And I think what I took away from what you said was, journaling is very important. From there on, taking responsibility for your own actions, being aware, what did those moments tell me, and then regulating my mind through meditation or through heartfulness for me. And therefore, that allows me to hear my heart's voice more clearly and also prioritize. And so that I feel is like, my takeaway from what you said. And I hope that, people who are listening in also feel like, they have the tools that they need in order to make the choices and really listen and follow their heart, as you've been saying. So I think, Daji, this is a good time to basically move into experiencing the yogic transmission that heartfulness provides, or rather the energy of life, as you call it, which obviously continues to nourish our soul. And so I was hoping if we could go through a 15 or a 20-minute relaxation session with you. We'd be really, I of course would be extremely honored, and I'm sure everyone who's listening into this will also feel like they really want to experience what heartfulness can really do for them practically.
With this, I would like to straight away begin with relaxation. Here, what you need to do to start, just gently close your eyes and try to invite the energy from earth. As the energy comes up through your feet, it helps us relax as it touches various organs of our body. So let's begin. Feel the relaxation in your lower legs, ankles, and feet. Let it move upward to your calf muscles. And now your knees. Feel the relaxation in your knees. Allow this energy to move upward into your thigh muscles. Feel the tightness, heaviness relaxing, melting away. Now your hip area, the entire body touching wherever you are sitting, hip and your back. Allow this energy to move forward into your abdominal muscles, the stomach area, and also your chest area. Now your shoulders. Feel the relaxation in your shoulders. Feel the energy from earth melting your shoulders and making it lighter. Now allow this energy to move to your arms, your biceps, your elbows, your lower arms, and your palms and fingers. Feel the relaxation as the energy moves in your hands. Now the neck muscles. Allow this energy to move to your jaws. Drop your jaws if you have to. Allow them to relax with this energy. Entire facial muscles and your nose and your lips and your eyes and eyebrows and eyelids and your forehead. Think relaxing. Now your ears, earlobes. Feel them relax. Now top of your head. Allow all the pressure from the head melt away. Now connect or scan top to toe. If any body organ is still stressed or heavy, you can revisit, allow the energy to do its job. Okay, now you're ready to meditate. This is what you do. Imagine the heart. It's on the left side of your chest. Try to focus your mind exactly where your heartbeats are going on. Imagine that the love energy or the divine presence is already there in your heart. And we are meditating on this divine presence in the heart, on this love energy which is already there in the heart. We are focusing on that. So we continue with this idea of presence of love energy in the heart. You might get a lot of thoughts, you might not get, but if you do get, just remind yourself, that you are meditating on the presence of divinity, on love. There's no point fighting with thoughts. We'll do this for another 5-6 minutes. I think that's all for now.
Thank you again, Daji, for your time and helping us experience this yogic transmission.
Mm.
For all the listeners who are experiencing this, you can also log on to our Hearts app and go through these sessions from the comfort of your home. You can also log on to heartfulness.org, and these sessions are there available to you as well. And thank you so much, Daji, again for giving us this opportunity and this conversation, which has really triggered me to reflect and introspect a lot more. And yeah, from me, it's a wrap. And stay safe and keep meditating. And Daji, if you have anything to say, please.
Enough for the day.
Thank
Thank,
you so much. Thank you.
thank